commissioned, I guess, by a pastor to kind of inform the congregation about what type of music our youth has been listening to and why it's important for you all to be aware of that. I'm going to start off with a video. Raise your hand. I believe everyone in here has heard of Jay-Z, Beyonce, hip-hop duo couple, Bonnie and Clyde, as they like to call themselves. Well, when this video comes up here, I just want you to kind of take a look at what's happening on the stage and then keep in the mind the word and what it says will happen in these times. So Brother Paul, if you could. Beautiful, doesn't it?
You take the clothes off my back and I'll let you. You steal the food right out my mouth, and I don't want you here to steal. Don't know why I love you so much. Thanks for warning. And you curse my name and spite to put me to shame. You put my laundry on the street, dirty and clean. Give it everything, and I still don't know why I love you so much. And baby, it's amazing, and it's amazing. I just can't break the problem. It's one thing you're screaming your love loud, and the next day you're so cold. One day you're here, one day you're there, one day you're there. You're so unfair. Send it money, go, send it money, You told me why you think this. But that shit just
Brother Paul, you can go ahead and cut it right there. I want you to, and some of you might have received a form that was passed out, just kind of write down a few things that you witnessed there. Just a few things. And I'll give you a minute, then I'll tell you what I saw. Again, I'm just kind of equipping you with the tools you'll need to decipher these things when you're explaining it to your children and even yourselves, because, we're all victims of it, because we're humans and we're highly susceptible to what comes in us. Of course, the panel here, we have the Dean family and technically the Brown family, and they have an excellent presentation. They're going to be going over the lyrics, which is going to shock some of you, probably. So when you see your son or your daughter, your granddaughter, and they're just listening to that harmless music, bobbing their head around, pay attention to what's going in their mind. So I believe most of the forms are passed out. I'll tell you right off the top of the head, and of course I'm with the panel to even jump in on this one. I saw a male and a female descend from the heavens like gods. And they want you to think of them like that because they have two crucifixes, almost like they're the sacrifice themselves to humanity. Now, in current news, you might not know, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe Beyonce or her fans recently bought a church. I want to say for about $100,000.
She does have a habit of buying churches to live in.
So she has a habit. I thought it was one church.
This is the second one.
The second one. And this beehive, I think that's what they call it, they worship her. Now keep in mind, on that stage, everybody knew the words to the song. They didn't have to have the lyrics put up there. And as soon as that beat dropped, it's like they became a whole different being. It's your children. And so this alarmed pastor, because he said, okay, things from their sexuality, their character and behavior, what they want to be in life, they're altering that to fit what they listen to. And that's kind of what we're going to be discussing today. But panel, I want to know what you guys pulled and saw from that first video.
Well, something else that I noticed is, notice the fact that they're wearing white. And so oftentimes we associate white with purity and with things that are good. You know, they didn't come in straight with black. And then notice they didn't say anything. They just came down and they waited. The whole group knew, let's start cheering, let's start yelling, let's start going, let's get hype, let's get hype, let's get hype. And then the music drops, and then they start singing. Once they realize they've got your attention, you're all looking at them, they waited a good 30 seconds just for them to come down, right? Just to come down. And so that's something that stuck out to me, the fact that the clothing that they wore even tried to send a message as to what they were doing. And something else that we just found out this morning is the two of them, they're on tour right now. This is the On the Run tour, the second one. And I want to say it was yesterday, they released an album, the two of them, Jay-Z and Beyonce. And if you looked on Instagram or Facebook today or Twitter and the Beehive and Instagram, they're going crazy. Not only are these tickets so expensive, it's a little ridiculous for the On the Run tour. Now they're like, everybody go out right now and go buy the CD. They have no idea what's on it. They just know it's Beyonce and Jay-Z, and they're gonna go buy it. And I mean, even people that Brandon and I know, I told him, because there's somebody that we know that is a hardcore Beyonce fan, I said, look, within 10 minutes of them posting and releasing, we dropped an album. Within 10 minutes, she put on her Twitter like, Beyonce is so amazing. I'm about to get this album. And you're like, aren't you getting ready for church? No? Oh, okay.
Oh, if you had any comments or about that?
Well, so yes. So Beyonce, she does have a really big entourage, and she's known as Queen Bee. So social media does go crazy about her. She can't do any wrong. If I were to get on my social media right now and say, oh, that new Beyonce and Jay-Z record was whack, it was terrible, people would come for me. They would comment and say, oh, you a hater. Oh, you don't. And so, you know, the emojis when you text, they'll do a lot of bees and fill your whole social media up with bees.
I didn't even know
to let you know, hey, we here. You don't talk about my Beyonce. Yeah, she has a lot of power. So yeah, so we had a comment on that.
Christian.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So Christian, I mean, I do play Beyonce in the house, you know, but I know how to separate. She's not my guide. She's not my idol. You know, I think she has a good voice, you know, but some people really go overboard. But
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
We, at this stage and with our experience, we know that, okay, at the end of the day, these are just people. And they're making money off your children, sometimes us, and that they're not gods or deities to follow.
And I'm sorry, but the other thing is she doesn't care. Like, she doesn't interact with her fans. So on social media, she just posts a picture of herself and she'll get like 1 million comments and 1 million views. She doesn't say, thank you for buying my album. Thank you. Oh, I love y'all. Thank you for making this #1 on Billboard. She doesn't care. She's just there, and people still bow down to her. She has a song called Bow Down. Yeah, so she's the queen, and she is a religion in some places. She's become a religion too. So that's kind of too much. I don't know. But
Wow.
yeah, no word after that, but I was trying to keep it clean. Yeah.
I guess I want to make sure, always keep it scriptural. I know biblically when they would teach their children, of course we have the book of Proverbs. I don't know, maybe Paul can put this up, but it's, if you have your Bibles, Proverbs 4:23, there's one passage that's very powerful in there. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything you do flows from it. That's biblical. That's a proverb. So and you can see the evidence of what's in your heart or what's in your children's heart, what comes into their gates. I guess I want to jump right into making a defining certain key things, because again, we want to inform you. Praise, what does that mean? And Pastor, please correct me if I say anything out of place. It means to express warm approval or admiration of something. Express warm approval or admiration. The second thing, worship. Now, worship is the feeling or expression of reverence and adoration for a deity. The feeling or expression of reverence. Now, reverence, you can also associate that with fear, and we know in the Bible, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. And the verb, which is when you do this, when you actively do this, it says to show reverence and adoration for a deity by giving honor with religious rites and to perform and take part of worship or the act of worship. Well, what do we know? Well, music is an expression of worship. It's an expression. You use music to express these things, but music in itself is not worship. Now, where do we praise? And this is the last thing on here. Anywhere. So if you thought you had to come to church to give God praise, negative. Anywhere. And classically, it was done at an altar or a temple. And you know that your body is the temple of the Lord. Now, what are your children and what are you putting in your temple? And we know biblically, that's a big deal because God has sent some people to the beyond who were messing up the temple. And Jesus was angry about when they came in there making sales in the temple, turned over tables. So it's a big deal. The next thing I want to equip you with, before of course I hand it over to the panel, who is Lucifer? We know he was an angel of God, and that his role was conductor of music. He ushered people into the presence of God. He was handsome, very good looking, which, look at Beyonce and Jay-Z. They're the apex of that technically. Handsome and good. Well, some people could debate, but but handsome and good looking. And you know he was good at music. Pastor, I'll just kind of slide this from there. Pastor had informed me when it came to the anointing, people often associate excellent ability to sing with being anointed. And Pastor had to let me know real quick, just because you can sing well doesn't mean you're anointed. They might say they're anointed. Snoop Dogg just released an album, right, Chris? Snoop Dogg, he just released I just thought of that right now. Keep that in mind. Snoop Dogg released a gospel, not just an album. Sorry, go ahead.
He released a gospel album a couple months ago.
You know any tracks on that or?
No.
Now think about that. Lucifer was said to be perfect. Now when God said he made you, he said this is good. But Lucifer was perfect in intellect. You cannot outsmart him. And he knows that this is a powerful tool to get your mind. The next thing I want to equip you with is, Chris, you had the next thing I want to equip you with is what science says about the impact of music and sound. We know the effects of music on babies in the womb. We have a little one right here, is a perfect example of that. I'm pretty sure my wife will tell you, Christian's wife will tell you, even in the womb, you play the right sound and music, you feel a kick, or I mean, I don't know if y'all want to elaborate on that or say anything else. But they've known this as far back as ancient China. They would play a gong to make sure the baby reacts to it, and they notice if the baby's not doing that, there might be some issues. So you're almost designed and programmed to respond to this. Coincidence? I think not. God likes praise. He gave you vocal cords with range and pitch, so he wants you to use it. But music is not praise in of itself, it's a part of it. Science also says music can be used to hypnotize you. If you study Indian history, they call it the rag. You'll hear a beat, you know, kind of sounds like hip hop in some places. Well, it puts you in a trance, and it makes people do a lot of interesting things. I know over there, as my seat sinks down, that they actually, you can pull up videos on YouTube, they'll actually stick swords and knives into their body while they're in this hypnotic state.
Yeah, Kanye West, one of his songs was banned that turned out the lights because it gave a lady a stroke. The lights from the video.
Seizure.
Yeah,
A stroke, excuse me.
the video caused people to have epilepsy seizures. Due to just a bunch of flashing lights, just like a strobe light almost.
Coincidence. Wow. Keep going. Shopping music. You ever go into a store?
Especially during Christmas, make you want to shop more.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. It makes you want to buy stuff. Go ahead and spend all your money. It's not that bad. Feel good about it, and then you're in debt. And they've studied this since the 40s or 50s, and they said if we just simply play this type of music, we've known sales increase. Let's play Christmas songs and make you feel sad and compelled to go spend all your money. This one, I don't think I need to explain it. Panel, I'm gonna let you have fun with it if you want to. Music and sex. Some of y'all are here because of it. I mean, please, if y'all want to elaborate. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, notice.
Well, they say sex sells, so that's why I think they put it in there often. But yeah, you can't hear a song nowadays. Even back in the day, you know, it still had a lot of that stuff. What's his name? Barry White and all them.
Man.
Even them, just Marvin Gaye. You know, it's always been a part of it. So. I think then they were a little more gentle and smooth with the ladies. Now they just like, yeah.
So I don't think I need to say anything else. That it is what it is. War and music. I mean, I don't know any soldiers, anyone in the military who served in here. You already know they get.
They sang them while you're running to get you in the kill. Seriously, have you ready to kill?
Have you ready to kill?
Yeah, you actually start feeling it. When you run, they singing that song.
I know. You go a little bit. The Romans, when they would go marching, I mean, they had certain horns they would play, and they play a horn, and you hear that, get them marching. It's a weapon. And we know biblically God used it. March around, there you go. But look who knows that. Do your children know that? Do you think every adult out there knows this? And one final thing, it's more so related to just how you talk. There's a guy, I forgot his name, but the movie's on Netflix. It's called The Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know if anybody's seen that. This guy found out that if he simply ended whatever he said by doing this, it's almost people were pulled into bind whatever he said, just raising the pitch of a voice. And he said he felt bad about it because, I mean, I'm just taking the money. They called it pump and dump. So sound, pitch, vocal cords, all that's involved in music. This is the science behind what you're listening to and what's influencing you and your children. Next, my panel, they have a presentation about the lyrics. And they've done extensive research. So please. Get connected with new creation by sending a text message with the subject NCBC to the phone number 408-214-0129. You will receive a link to our Ustream, Facebook, website, and the rest of our social media network. Get connected.